Hello, my name is Jay and welcome back to my Tech Vault, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Yottamaster Professional External Storage. So this is basically an external hard drive enclosure. So in order to test this, I've got an extra hard drive over here. What we're going to do is we're going to go through, kind of unbox this, give this an overall view, kind of see what's inside of it, and we're also going to kind of test it, compare it to another one that I've got, and I think that's about it. So without further ado, let's get into the unboxing process. So unboxing time. So let's get into first off taking a look at the box. It's honestly a pretty solid box that usually tells you a little bit about quality. Pretty big external hard drive, sorry. So right off the box, we've got the external drive enclosure. This actually reminds me a lot of the old iMacs. They looked kind of like this. They had that kind of design. So yeah, that's the first thing I noticed, but it is aluminum. Kind of like that actually. It's pretty solid, pretty sturdy, pretty high quality too. Especially being out of all aluminum, it definitely does look pretty impressive. So obviously the first thing I'd say is everything looks like it's been put together pretty well. I think we'll have to figure out how we're going to open this. I think you have to get screws in a second. What else did they include in the box? So we've got rubber pieces. I'll have to find the instructions in a second. Got the cord, I assume, to connect to the computer. And here are the instructions down here. It's the Y desktop D35-Pro. So in here, what do we have? I assume we have power and mounting and a bunch of different plugs. So not only have they done the wonderful job of including lots of different plugs, they've also gone through and add a stand for it. I think this is plastic though. This definitely does kind of feel plastic. Yeah, this is definitely plastic. But still, I don't know why you particularly need that. I think it stands well on its own, but in case you were concerned about your data falling over, that looks pretty good though. Okay, so what else do we have? So we have different plugs. Looks like we've got lots of different. Is there a difference in these, or are they just the same? There's a lot of them. So are there a difference in the reason why we've gotten so many? They look about the same. Okay. So we've got multiple kinds of plugs. So I guess if you want to take this somewhere in the world that you don't have a standard plug in the US, you can take this to different countries and then of course have the different power outlets, so you can of course keep your device charged or powered on. I wonder if this has a battery in it. Probably not. It's kind of low end, but it probably won't. Let's take off the two screws. They've included a screwdriver with it, so that definitely is a good sign. So there's definitely a screwdriver to remove and install the hard drive. I've got one over here, so we're going to test that out, how easy it is. Honestly, the screws aren't in that hard, so not a big issue. And honestly, pretty good so far. They've included everything I think you'd need. Oh, there goes the drive enclosure. Okay, so what do they have here? They have the power plug, a button, I assume that's power, a light, and then the USB interface. You've got a little chip right here that does the job of converting the SATA to the USB. Yeah, pretty solid there. Okay, so I'm assuming there's screws somewhere too. Ah yes, there's a bag of screws over here to install the drive itself. So let me get this drive out real quick. So for testing purposes, I've got an extra 500 gig drive laying around. This is a small channel, so please keep in mind that I don't have endless amounts of money to go buy huge drives, but this is just something for maybe to give to a friend or something so that they can have something for their Xbox. But this is basically like an external drive enclosure just for kind of that purpose. Yeah, having a better screwdriver helps a lot. Otherwise, you're going to end up spending an hour trying to figure out how to screw in 2 screws. This should not be. That's the only difficulty I'd say I had, was just getting the drive in there. But now it's in there. Let's boot up, get everything tested. So if I remember correctly, I think you just clip these on. This is always a really nice one though, since they include something that adapts to pretty much anywhere in the world. I think that's really nice, especially for professional stuff. If they're labeling it as professional, I think they definitely should end up including some stuff that professionals would use, which of course the different plugs would be what I would expect. But yeah, I've actually gotten into enjoying these kind of the power sources that include all of them. So I'm curious on what, I bet that was what's supposed to go on the drive before I set it in there. So now that this is properly secured, we've got a rubber padding on each side of the hard drive. Keeps it nice and well secured, but also make sure it doesn't bounce around and vibrate. Also, good job on them. Next up, let's put the external drive enclosure, or the actual internals, back in. Okay, so now that everything's in there, it doesn't really rattle around much. And honestly, while I do think that this is a good idea to include something to make sure it doesn't tip over, it's not going to tip over too much in the first place. So there's that. So for performance-wise, which I don't know how well you guys can see this, but this is hooked up currently. The performance we got from this was about 120 megahertz per second transfer speed, which from a 500 gig, 7,200 RPM hard drive, take that how you like, compared to the 3 gigabytes per second SSD that I've gotten here. That might just be the hard drive showing its age. Definitely though, I think that, I don't know if these guys do a SSD, external SSD enclosure, but I definitely think that would be something to consider with the rise of SSDs becoming more popular. But as for external hard drives, these are also pretty valuable. I have a couple, this will add to the list. I have to find actually a good drive to put in here though. But for the most part, pretty solid design, not any issues, actually kind of quiet, but no issues there as well. I definitely think though it's copying kind of from that Apple original iMac or Mac Pro, but I think that it definitely looks cool, and if you have a Mac Pro and you're into that kind of style, it definitely does look pretty sleek and clean. Honestly, it's got the perforated front, got room to breathe and stuff, so I definitely like that as well. So overall, my review of this, I believe this comes in at $20. So what do we have here? 20 bucks, and it looks pretty solid all around. I definitely think comparing it to the $14 adapter that I have over here, which currently is downstairs, the adapter itself is just a little dongle with a USB to the hard drive. But this is actually pretty solid. For a couple more bucks, you can actually get an enclosure for it. And honestly, while it is a little difficult to get all the screws in and get everything situated, once you do, it's actually a pretty nice looking, solid design. So, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. And if you did enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up. As always, see you guys again, and goodbye.